I want to talk about water levels. How are they?
Groundwater levels pretty much across the board in Canterbury are very, very low. Some of them are the lowest we've ever recorded in some of the observation bores. And particularly in the last 2 months, 3 months, they've really taken a huge dive. Such that it means that if we don't get a lot of recharge this winter, and I mean a lot of recharge, it's going to be a tough irrigating season from groundwater again in 2017-18. So I mean the warnings are are very obvious right now. Yep.
So we're in deep trouble.
We are in deep trouble. I mean, generally when we get to at the end of each irrigation season, for us to get back to where we started at before the irrigation season started, typically we need sort of around the 240 to 260 millimetres of rain over the winter period, somewhere between about, I don't know, the middle of April and the 1st of September.
And that's achievable normally.
That's a decent 100 millimetre rainfall event somewhere along the way, but in late April or May or June, and then just consistent top-ups of 20s and 30s after that to get us to that 200 and something millimetres. Well, at the beginning of February, the last time most of the observation bores around Canterbury were read, it looks to me like we need over 500 millimetres of rain to achieve the same result as we would normally achieve. So right now, our water levels are so low that a vast majority of the groundwater takes in the mid-plains can't get the yield out of the bores that they were getting at the start of the season. We hear stories of people going from 65 litres a second down to 30, 80 litres down to 30, re-nozzling irrigators, shutting the gate valves down, putting some earplugs in so you can't hear the cavitation when you turn it on and you suck air. Just things like this. I mean,
Put earplugs in.
I'm just joking about the earplugs, but it's like turning a blind eye to it. I mean,
You just got to do that.
You just got to keep, if you want to irrigate, you've got to keep things running, because you get a very large drawdown when you turn your pump on, and then it bounces back a little bit as the water gets into the bore. So we've reached the point where that's commonplace now, and to go from that point back to a safe yielding sort of water level, it looks like it's in the order of 500 millimetres of rain. That was at the beginning of February. We've had another month now where we haven't had any significant rainfall. So I think by the time the bores are read in March, the situation's going to be worse. It will be worse than what it was at the beginning of February. And we need to remember it takes, unless you're a water table aquifer, it takes 2 to 3, sometimes 4 months for those water levels to recover. So unless we start getting the recharge in May, end of April, May, then we won't see that recharge come through in the groundwater system until late September, early October.
So we're going to start a season with no water?
We'll start a season with limited water, so people will be in the same position they are now, not being able to take all of the water that they are consented to take, and therefore not being able to irrigate the area that they would normally irrigate.
On a brighter note, a decade since you launched Hydro Trader.
It is a decade this coming field days, 2017 field days. It was 2007 that we actually launched Hydro Trader, with lots of, controversy and support at the same time.
You never have been, sort of.
and it is still operating.
Yeah. What's the concept? Just to recap for those who don't know what Hydro Trader does.
So what Hydro Trader does is puts someone who's a willing seller of a water permit in touch with a willing purchaser of a water permit. So somebody that needs top-up water, for example, or needs water for a block that's otherwise dry, or wants to put another bore down on a property and needs some extra water. So I mean, it started out with a very grand view that we were going to have a Trade Me water site for water permits. That clearly didn't work, and it's an expensive website now for a list of what water gets brokered. So I sort of had the feeling that it was grandiose, that if farmers were going to do this, or any permit holder was going to do this, you had to do it at the kitchen table. And that's still the case. I mean, it's really a kitchen table, telephone, confidential discussion about, yes, look, I've got a permit, I'm not using all of it, I've done some changes to my irrigation system, can I trade off, you know, a proportion of my water permit? And we can. The rules have changed a little bit. You've got to, in Canterbury in particular, you've got to surrender 50% of the allocation that you trade. And we thought that would be the death knell really, but the demand is still there for people to want a water permit. We've got some areas where the supply has absolutely outstripped the demand now. So whether that means nobody's got any water left, anything of a water permit left that they want to trade, or whether they just haven't thought about it.
Well, we might have just shaken the tree.
Well, we might shake the tree and a couple of nuts might fall off. Who knows?
Exactly.
Yes.
Now, you're going to be at the South Island Field Days?
Absolutely be at the South Island Field Days. We're always a starter for South Island Field Days. We've got another site where we won't be difficult to find. You know, to update on, you know, by then we'll have a much better update on the situation with groundwater for the coming irrigation season.
It was Kirwee, where they are, is an ideal spot to be talking irrigation and drought.
Very much. We're right in the middle of the plains. They are the people that are most affected by the low water levels.
So South Island Field Days is the 29th to the 31st?
It is the 29th to the 31st of March. It's quite scary. You know, we should be organised by now, and we're still getting organised. So yes, we will be there though. Absolutely.
So will On the Land be there, so we'll probably catch up with you there.
Excellent.
Last word though, real conserve water wherever you can.
Yeah, look, I mean, it's probably not so much about conserving the water, because the groundwater system is just like a big slow moving river. It's on its way to the sea. What goes past you today is gone. So hope and pray for rain, I think is the word, Rob.
I'll sing in the shower. Tony, thank you very much indeed.